meeting, you're going to hear a lot about this concept that's called AI, or artificial intelligence. What that really means is that the computer nowadays can take all the data or all the information that you can find on the internet. Okay.
Hi. So AI is less intelligent and less than human brain.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be here with you.
You're gonna translate for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is artificial intelligence is about getting all the data from the internet and bringing it all together and combining to give you something intelligent.
我们说到哈 ，AI 就是从互联网上把所有的数据帮我们放在一起，然后通过计算，然后成就成一组数据交给我们。
So what that means is there's lots and lots of data now in the internet, right? Every time you try to search for something on the internet, you can find it. There are millions, if not billions, of data points in the internet.
所以，Internet 上面呢有着数据的海洋，这个数据海洋可以说是可以淹死我们，也可以让我们在其中遨游。
It's similar in aging, because when we started on our journey to look at how the aging process happens in the body, we focus on genetics.
这个跟我们年龄增长和衰老其实是一样的。当我们慢慢衰老的时候，我们去看向我们的基因，我们想要关注哪些程序、哪些原因导致我们衰老。
So there's a whole field of science that is called genomics. What we did is to focus on just the type of genetics that happen in aging.
所以这些也给我们提供了一个我们可以说是基因组学这样的一个数据的海洋，而我们所要做的是在这个海洋当中寻找那个小小的岛屿，是专注于衰老这一点。
So can you imagine, right? Every time our scientist or any scientist conducts an experiment, he generates data, lots and lots of data.
所以我们的科学家在做实验的时候，在创造数据，其实同时也在创造灾难，创造很多很多的数据。
And you're going to see that's where artificial intelligence comes into play.
所以这时候 AI 就站上了舞台，来帮助我们。
If you look at the history of medicine over the years, right, there are certain things that happen that helps to make us live better and longer.
所以，当你看过这个医疗的这个整个路程的路径的时候，你看到有一些里程碑，帮助我们活得更好。
In the 18th century, vaccines were first discovered, and that's how we managed to fight against viruses.
18世纪的时候呢，疫苗帮助我们去抵抗病毒。
Later, 100 years later, in the 19th century, we discovered we can anesthetize a person so that we can conduct surgery.
19世纪的时候呢，麻醉术让我们动手术成为可能。
And then also in the 19th century, you may not appreciate this. One of the most important medical discoveries in the world was the discovery of clean water.
那19世纪的时候，另外还有一项医学上的突破，就是我们发现其实我们可以去消毒水。
Because with clean water, you can get rid of many parasites and bacteria infections that happen inside dirty water.
那么通过这个消毒技术呢，净化技术呢，我们可以把水当中的病毒致病因子给它去除掉。
And then in the Second World War, that's when antibiotics came into play and helped to save many lives.
2 二战的时候呢，抗生素来到了世界上，为我们挽救了很多的生命。
So you can see many of things happen, and they've generated a lot of data, and they build on each other. Without this discovery, I don't think we would know how to understand aging now.
所以这一步又一步帮助我们建立了很多的数据，建立了很多的科学。没有这些，建立了很多的知识，没有这些，我们到现在没有办法去了解衰老。
Look at the last, 400 years, if you will, how the average lifespan or the life expectancy has increased.
回顾过去400年来，我们可以清楚地看到我们的生命周期，我们的寿命是如何进化的。
In the 17th century, you'd be lucky if you live up to 48 years old.
17世纪的时候，你如果能够活到48岁以上，那已经很幸运了。
Now, in fact, you can expect, with a bit of luck, you can definitely live up to 70 and older.
然后呢，超过70岁的时候，就觉得人到70古来稀。
Right. So you can imagine over the years we've increased our lifespan. But what that means is that as we get older, we are getting new problems.
那随着我们寿命的这个极限的增长呢，我们其实还有了另外一个问题存在，就是说随着年龄的增长，我们还有其他的一些生理上的问题出现。
Before the 18th century, there's no such thing as cancer.
18世纪之前没有听说过癌症吧？
Because we all die before cancer can happen.
因为在癌症出现之前，我们就挂了。
Because cancer is an old age disease, generally.
因为癌症是一个衰老的疾病。
Right? So as we live older, there are more and more of us getting worried about things like cancer.
所以当我们寿命增长，我们年龄越来越上去的时候，我们开始着急，开始为这种癌症这些疾病焦虑。
There is also another misconception, right, out in the field, and that is aging is inevitable. There's nothing we can do. 12 months from now, we're going to get older.
那同时呢，我们逐渐有一个迷思，就是其实衰老是没有办法避免的，随着年龄的增长，我们无可避免的老化。
But in English, there's a difference about getting old and aging. The word old and aging, they're not the same.
从英语上来说，其实有2个词汇来形容老，一个是衰老，一个是年龄的变老。
Successful aging is about having a healthy, what we call a good health span.
那么成功的老，就是说你在你的寿命期间还要有一个健康的生活。
Right. So, in fact, I would think, in a way, aging in medicine is almost like climate change in the world. It's a big change for all of us throughout the world globally.
所以从它的概念上来说，其实老这件事情就像一个天气的变化。
But it's not a disease.
但是我们的天气一直在变，但是它不是一种病。
I mean, we all get old.
我们都要变老。
But we don't have to sacrifice our quality of life.
但是我们没有必要牺牲我们的生命质量。
Scientists have looked at many, many ways to try to understand aging.
那科学家呢，寻找一切有效的办法来抵御衰老。
These are some of the theories that have developed over the years. There's one theory that's called the free radical theory, where some scientists believe that these free radicals inside the body start to destroy your tissue and make you get old.
科学家找到了很多的理论，那其中有一个理论呢，叫做氧自由基理论。我们有一些认为啊，这个氧自由基积累在身体里，逐渐去破坏我们的身体组织啊，从而带来老化。
Another theory involves that there are lots of proteins inside our body and they get damaged over the years.
另外一个理论呢是说，我们的蛋白质在细胞里面遭到破坏了，于是细胞也就坏掉了，于是我们身体也就不好了。
More recently, there is a genetic or DNA theory that's called the telomere. Telomere is at the end of a DNA strand, and if that gets broken, scientists believe you get old.
那最近呢又有一个端粒的一个理论啊，刚刚我在外面还有伙伴问起我，那端粒呢是我们 DNA 边上的一段小尾巴，那这段小尾巴越来越短，等到它没有的时候呢，那这个 DNA 也就破坏了，生命也走到尽头了。
And then more recently, we have discovered many genes involved in aging.
那近年来呢，我们又发现其实有很多的基因在我们的衰老过程当中起的作用。
There are so many theories that there's no one theory that can explain everything in aging.
这些理论其实都对没有一个理论是单独它自己可以解释全局的。
Our body is really about energy consumption.
我们的身体其实它的基础就是一个能量的一个代谢和利用。
That's why we eat, because the energy in food is converted to something in the body that the body can use.
这就是为什么我们要吃食物，食物转化成能量，然后我们就成为我们的这个身体的动力。
There are only three things your body can do. It can either grow, or it can reproduce, or it can repair DNA.
身体可以做3件事情，一个是生长，一个是复制，另外一个呢就是自我修复 DNA。
So all these theories that I just described to you, they all have to explain growth, reproduction, and DNA repair, or else it's not a very good theory.
那所以我们刚刚讲到的这些理论其实都是围绕着我们这个3点展开的。
So how do we study aging?
我们如何去研究衰老呢？
One of the best clues and data sets that we can get are actually coming from twins.
我们一个最好的一个线索或者是一个灵感来自于一对双胞胎的研究。
And the reason for this is because twins have identical genetic material or genetic code.
原因是双胞胎他们有着完全一模一样的 DNA 和基因。
Look at these two sets of twins, right? One looks older than the other, correct?
来看这2对双胞胎，很明显一个比另外一个要衰老，对不对？
Right. So the question is, why?
问题是为什么？
So it seems there's another factor that comes into play during aging, and that is the environment.
所以另外一定有一个力量来影响他们的老化，那就是环境。
So imagine our environment is changing a little bit. I think, well, in fact, changed a lot. You experienced that in Beijing, right? Last month, where the temperature went above 45.
那所以我们也许环境在微微的变化，不，其实是很大的变化。比如说上个月在北京可能温度提高到了40度以上。
Yeah. In some other cities, there's always constant pollution.
还有其他一些城市一直有着这个污染，环境的污染。
In fact, what we eat also is an environmental factor that affects our aging.
所以我们吃的东西 也是一种环境因素影响着我们。最近是不是有一个热点？
The most important age-related disease now, sort of throughout the world, is type 2 diabetes.
那所以呢，我们在影响我们这个衰老的，其中有一个非常大的一个因素非常大的一个表现，就是2类糖尿病。
Everywhere, China, US, Europe, wherever, type 2 diabetes is what we call a lifestyle disease.
无论在世界何地这个2类糖尿病呢，对我们来说其实都是一个就是环境引起的一个衰老。
And when you look at diabetes, you can see all the signs of accelerated aging.
那所以呢，我们通过这个2类糖尿病，我们看到这个环境引起着我们的这个一个老化，以及所以我们称之为生活方式的疾病。
So what is happening now is that scientists are beginning to understand that on all these age-related genes, there are switches, chemical switches that turn the gene on and off.
那我们再来看到基因其实基因上面有一些开关，一些化学的开关，能够把这个基因打开或者关闭，就像灯一样开进和关。
And these are called epigenetics switches.
所以这些是一些表观遗传学的开关。
Look at some of these studies, especially the picture on the right. These are pictures of chromosomes.
我们来看这个荧光的图片，这个其实就是我们DNA 的一个染色体的图片。
The color shows the activity of the gene when it's activated, or inactivated.
那所以这上面的颜色，它的亮度其实显示了这一段基因它是到底是活跃的还是关闭的。
When the twins are 3 years old, in other words, not very old at all, their chromosomes, the activity of the genes are almost identical.
当这些双胞胎在他们3岁的时候我们去看到他们的这个基因的时候，他们其实是看上去它的活性是一模一样的。
When they get to 50 years old, their genes starting to change dramatically. They're not the same anymore.
到50岁的时候，我们又看到一个戏剧性的变化，他们的这个基因就完全不一样了。不是基因不一样，而是基因的活力不一样了。
Right. So what's happening is over the next, from 3 years old to 50 years old, their lifestyle has affected their gene expression or activity.
所以从3岁到50岁之间呢，他们这不同的人，他的生活方式严重的影响了他们的基因表达的模式。
So now, after studying many twin sets, we are getting a lot of data along these lines.
所以在这些研究当中，我们获得了非常非常多的数据。
So now we are beginning to understand this new science that we call epigenetics is giving us another set of data, and that's involve all kinds of chemical changes on DNA, on protein, telling us that aging is not a hardware problem. Genes are hardware, right? But it's actually a software problem.
所以针对这些研究，我们越来越发现这个关于衰老，其实它有很多的影响因子，比如说我们这里说的表观遗传学它使这个基因进行一个开和关。那基因本身它是可以说我们看它是一个硬件，但是这个表达的方式，它的活力不再是一个硬件，而是一个软件。
Yeah, our Microsoft colleagues who are also here in this conference will tell you that when they code something or when they write something in code and all that, millions and millions of lines of code, right? Well, the genetic code is very similar. There are more than millions and millions of lines of code. and one or two lines, if they get corrupted, the genetic code doesn't work so well anymore.
所以我们到会场呢，也有我们来自于微软的伙伴，对不对？那他一定会告诉大家，他会进行一个编码成千上万、成百万的这个编码程序成就了一个编码成就了程序。那我们在基因方面呢，其实有更多超过成千上万、超过百万的这样的基因编码，而这些编码当中如果有一段、两段被破坏了，那么这个基因就不能很好的表达了。
Remember I told you about aging is about growth, reproduction, and DNA repair?
记不记得我刚刚有说过，我们其实生命当中有3个重要的点，就是生长复制，还有一个是修复。
So these are the genes that we have just discovered that are responsible for these kind of, maintenance and repair processes.
所以这些基因呢，是我们在研究过程当中发现和这3个重要的生理过程密切相关的。
Now, our body is very strange. Up to this point, I've only talked about our body genes, our human body genes. But actually, there is another set of genes that lives on and inside our body.
那刚刚我们说了半天讲的都是我们自己身体的基因。那其实还有其他物种的基因影响着我们，就是有一些基因，有一些微生物，它是生活在我们身体里面，与我们共生的。
Somehow, during our evolutionary period as a human being, we have managed to incorporate into our body a microbiome, in other words, bacteria that help us to live healthy and that are coexisting with the human body.
那我们进化的过程当中呢，我们发现我们和一些细菌、微生物同时在生长，它容纳在我们身体里跟我们共生，同时也给我们互相带来好处。
This microbiome is even larger than the human genome.
那这个微生态我们说是微生态，这些微生物它所带来的基因群组，比我们自己的基因群组又大上了几个数量级。
So can you imagine, as we begin to study this particular microbiome, we are going to get a lot of data.
那你可以想象吗？于是当我们去研究这些基因的时候，我们叫它宏基因组学。于是就像它的名字一样，宏大，我们又获得了宏大的数据流。
And how are we going to understand that data and what is telling us without artificial intelligence?
那现在重点来了，没有 AI， 我们怎么才能够去读这些数据，去分析这些数据，去挖掘这些数据呢？
The microbiome is important in aging. We now know it affects our immune system. It affects, obviously, a lot of it is in our gastrointestinal tract. It affects our GI health. And it helps us to maintain balance in the body.
那这个宏基因组学就非常的重要，因为这些微生物在我们的肠道里面，虽然活在我们的肠道里面，但是它影响着我们的除了肠道健康，还影响着我们的免疫健康，还影响着我们身体的整体的一个平衡。
Perhaps,